Hey guys, welcome. This is going to be an episode of I'm such a dumbass. After the train wreck of the weaving video, I went, I gotta figure out what I screwed up. And this is what I screwed up. You're supposed to warp your loom through the reed, which I did not do, which is why I had such a mess when I was done. So I am getting ready to warp my loom to weave my advent calendar fibers. So I'm going to do it properly this time, or at least attempt it. I am such a dumbass. Here's the other thing I'm a dumbass about. This is an Ashford rigid heddle loom. And if you look on the reed, you can see it tells you what your DPI is. And you see that little dot after the word Ashford? That's the center of the reed. Yeah. All the information I needed is right there. So, yes, I'm a dumbass. This is what happens when you don't use your rigid heddle loom for a long time. I figured it out. It's been actually 3.5 years since I've used it. And I should have known better than to just dive in cold. I should have watched a couple refresher videos. Thank you, YouTube. So, I've got my distance measured out, how long I want my warp to be. I will throw you on time lapse and you can see how it's done properly this time. And you know, I haven't made that video live yet. I have the option to just make it disappear, but because I don't believe anybody should pretend to be perfect when they're not, I'm letting it fly. You can see this train wreck of a weave and make your own judgments. I know I'm going to get comments telling me what I did wrong because this video is going to come out after it, but I'm ready for it because, you know, we're here to learn. I'm not claiming to be an expert. Far from. I just like to try things and bring you along with me. So that last video was I tried to make a mess? I don't know. Anyways, let's get warping this loom properly this time. So apparently I'm not done being a dumbass. I should have started on this side of the loom and worked my way over because I trapped myself from reaching my peg. So I've just chained up, tied and chained up this side. Now I'll tie and chain up this side. And then I'll probably try to combine them when I'm done, so I'm only dealing with one braid. But, yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Well, let's get at the second half. So we're not perfect here, but way better than my initial attempt. So now we're going to wind our warp onto our beam. I just took my chain and in the last loop, I just put a piece of scrap yarn through there and tied it around there. So if I have to walk away for whatever reason, it's not going to unravel. I also ran out of gray silk, so I switched to this beigey brown. So, hey, what the heck. So I'm going to very carefully cut this yarn, making sure I don't get any of my warp threads. I should have used a longer piece of yarn and tied a bow on it, but I used what was on hand. So you can see that I just tied some snugs around it here and there, just to kind of hold those warps together. And now I'm going to take it off and tension my warp while I wind it onto the beam. Hopefully this will work better. Telling you this, I am so not a weaver. Not yet anyways. That doesn't mean I won't keep trying. Because I'm nothing if not stubborn. Okay. So now we're coming around. That's flat. We're going to have to comb because I made a mess. I got closer to a tidy warp this time, but I still made a mess. So I'm going to comb that out, get it more even. Got a bit of a crosser here. Gonna uncross that and uncross that. It did come out so much tidier though. I'm kind of happy. Now I have a shelf liner that I'm going to use to pack my warp over. So I'm just going to get this underneath. Come here. Okay, there we go, caught it. I'm going to get it up to here and then just going to turn that to hold it in place. I was leaning on my warp to tension it just so I could get that started because I am working as a single person. I don't have anybody to help me tension my warp. Okay, I'm going to comb that out, shake, give that a shake. I'm just trying to get my warp as straight and flat as I possibly can before I put it onto that back bar. Because experience tells me, take the time on your warp and it'll work better for your weaving. Because Lord knows, I am not much of a weaver. All right, there we go. Okay, now you can see how in my triangle here, maybe you can't, it's all kind of twisted and bunched up. So I'm going to take the time to comb it. And I hear that some people say you should never comb your warp, and I don't know why. If somebody has a good reason, please share it with me, because I would like to know the reasoning why you should not comb your warp. Because to me, I mean, granted, I'm a beginner too, so my warp wasn't put on perfectly because I am a dumbass. But once I'm a more experienced weaver, if there's a reason I shouldn't comb my warp, I would love to know what it is. Well, guys, I got a little closer this time to a good warp. I'm not going to lie and say, woohoo, we did it. I'm going to lie and say, woohoo, we faked it. Like, it's a mess. Let's just tilt you down a little bit more so you can see the back bar. There we go. So you can see my warp is spread out and much tidier now that I warped it the correct way, because I'm a dumbass and you know. But I also learn by doing. So in messing up like that, I actually learn better. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense. It was frustrating and annoying and probably drove everybody absolutely batshit screaming at me, no, put it through the reed. But hey, I probably won't forget that again anytime soon. Okay. Tip you up a little bit again. Here's where we're at. That center bit is awfully loose, so I'm going to take this tie off. I'm trying to learn how to do this properly so I'm not as annoyed by warping my loom. Okay, now my apron stick. Oof. Okay, I'm going to cut it off right at the back bar. And try not to put too much pressure on it so it doesn't spring back out of the reed, because that'd be just my luck. So there's my waist. Way more than I would have liked. Way less than last time. Now we are going to thread our eyes because, because right now everything's in the slot. So I'm going to find the thread I want. Oh, I'm upside down. I like to work. Apparently I'm one of the 1% that likes to work with my hook facing up. So what I'm doing is when I pull it through the eye, then I'm flipping it over the reed and popping one off to the side. So I'll know which ones are eyes and which are slots. It's an eye, that's a slot. Eye, slot. And I'm kind of looking at how the threads are coming off the back bar, and I'm trying to choose the right hand one to go through the eye. Okay, so that's, I'm going to put them in groups of 8. So I'm going to do this one. Now in case some kind of disaster happens and my cats jump on my loom and knock off the reed or whatever, I'm going to take these ones that I've got threaded properly. I'm just going to tie a loose knot in there so I can just pull the tails to untie it, but that will hold them together, and that way if the reed falls, they're not coming out. Now I started on this side threading the eye to the right. So I'm going to come down to this end and do the same threading for 8, but I'm going to go to the eyes on the left. All right, so now I've got those ones threaded correctly, double checked, and I'm going to just tie a bit of a knot in it, fling it back over the reed so I know it's done. And I'm just going to work my way across. Since this time is going way, way better than last time, this probably shouldn't take anywhere near as long. I'm such a dumbass. Okay, I'll be back in a bit. All right, so we have destruction going on in my house. So I'm filming in the sunroom where it's a little bit quieter. So we got our first weaving off the loom. That went a little better than the initial one. Still got to work on my edging. My tension kind of gets a little wonky, but everything looks so pretty all woven up. So that was the extent I could get off of my loom. So I have rewarped it. And I'm getting better because this was all my waste. Yay! I'm getting my groove back. So I'm going to finish warping that and I'm going to get weaving again. So I've set it to this size. And then if I want at the end, I'll either have like several of these pieces I could use as a shawl. Or I can stitch them together and make a throw or something. But right now I just like, this is the length I ended up with because I messed up my warping so badly. You can see my edges definitely need some work. This is where I started. But as I got further along, you know what they say, practice, practice, practice. So it started getting a little bit better. But anyways, that's where we're at. I'm going to finish warping up and I will get weaving again. And I'm just having a lovely watch of crime scene on Netflix, and it's about the Cecil Hotel and Elisa Lam, which I haven't done a sit and spin on yet, which I probably should. We'll see about that. But for now, back to weaving. We've got most of our advent calendar woven up. I think there's 3 days that didn't fit into the weavings, but I did 3 strips. Here's the first one. I think it turned out so pretty. Even if the yarns don't really go together, I don't care. I just love the look of it. Look at this one. So pretty. You can really see where I changed to that beige warp as opposed to the gray, but I'm fine with that. All right, so that was the first strip. There's the second. I love how this turned out. This is one of the ones I dyed, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous in a weave. In general, I'm very, very pleased with how these turned out. Now, this was the one that I dyed with the black, and it came out like this bronzy with some blues and purples, and it looks so cool in this weave. I just love how it looks. I'm quite thrilled with that. This one was Santa's socks. And we have the blue, the deep brown, almost black. And then we had that multicolored top. I love how it ended up with that big streak of green right in the middle. I love it. This is the last one. Now I did this on a black cotton warp because I'd run out of the silk, but I'm not mad at it. Look at how those reds and greens wove up. Like so pretty. This is one of the ones I dyed. I think that's another one I dyed, but I don't really remember. I kept them all in order though, so I can go back and piece it all back together. And then that one. I have to wash all these and see what happens in the weaving because I didn't wash the yarns to set them before I wove. It'll be interesting. Oh, look. There's Latte. Oh, wait. Here comes Bobo. There's Bobo. Oh, well, Bobo's butt. They're going for a little snacky snack. So let's get these washed up. So we're in the bathtub today. So the water is on the warm side of tepid. It's not hot, but it's definitely not tepid. So yeah, let's go with the warm side of tepid. I have here my Plus. Let's start working this in. Alright. I'm not being super rough with it. I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of a scrub. Hello, Bobo. We have a supervisor. Bobo, what are you doing, buddy? His tail's going. He's thinking about jumping in that tub just to see what's going on because he's nosy. Now you can see that that Pert Plus probably drew a bit of dye out of some of those yarns, which is why I love using it. It literally will strip away any loose dye. It's just freaking amazing. Oops. Got the water a little too excited there. But you can see the color of the water coming out of there. Definitely had some colors in it. Grab our first one here. Okay, that's the first one squeezed out. And we're just going to take our woven pieces Now, if it was summertime, I would put these out on my line, but because it's winter and they're just going to freeze out there, I'm going to hang them up in here and let them drip into the tub. So it'll probably be like, you know, a week before they actually dry, but such is the joy of wool. Now the one on the top is probably going to dry the fastest, of course. So as I can pull them off, there we go. So what I'll do is anytime I come to the bathroom is I'll just give them a squeeze. Because all that water, of course, is going to move to the ends. So I can just grab them and give them a squeeze. And when it's dry, we'll be back to have a look. And we are finally done with our advent calendar weave. So what I did after washing and drying, my edges are not terribly even, but you can see that it didn't really affect the yarn too much using it unwashed. It seems to have just evened itself out pretty nice. So what I did was I took 2 of the pieces and I just crocheted them together. This is the fancy side. There we go. My tension wasn't great, but this one's for me anyways. So now I have this gorgeous throw. So let me back you up a bit so I can show you. Here we go. So you can see with it twice as wide, it's going to make the perfect throw. And this is so soft, guys. I can't even tell you. It's just gorgeous. And I love the absolute random chaos of it all. But you could certainly, you know, sort through, put your colors together, match them up a little better. But that's my throw from my advent calendar yarns. I do have one more piece, and I don't think it's quite long enough to be a scarf or a wrap. It's a little short for that, but I might use it for that anyways, because, you know, with a little shawl pin, it would probably work okay. I just love it. Getting back into the weaving was very fun. And I quite enjoyed it once I got my loom warped. Now, I have determined that I do like doing an indirect warp on my rigid heddle loom using my warping board. I found that was the easiest for me. So that will probably be how I warp my rigid heddle loom in the future. But this is the end result of my advent calendar. I have this gorgeous warm throw, which is just so nice. And then I have this little wrap. I just got to show you this again. Look how gorgeous that worked out. That's a single that I used in there. And it just puffed up really nice. And it gave these really nice bumpily? That's not a word. Gives it this really nice texture. Like, and washing just enhanced that. Oh gosh, it smells good too. So I don't think that using unwashed yarn in a weaving is that big a deal for me. I mean, for my uneven weaving, I think it worked out all right. But I mean, you do you. If you're doing some serious weaving, by all means, wash your yarns first, make sure they're ready to go. But for me, in my chaotic style of crafting, this works great. So that was a heck of a big project, and I have been weeks working on this and filming it and all that stuff. So now I'm going to go edit it and get it uploaded for your perusal. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you on the next one.